Hi, how's everyone doing today? My name is Tyler Boyer. This is Bet with the Boys. I'm here with my co-host,
Derek, also known as Joe.
and Tyler. And Ty B. We're back here for week 2 of Bet with the Boys, week 4 of NFL football. Real quickly, before we start the show, so we can give a shout out to our other podcasts over here at NGSC Sports. On Tuesdays, we have our weekly NGSC Sports podcast. It's featuring me, Ralph Garcia, and Shaq. On Wednesdays, we have Attack on the Politicos, which is our political podcast. On Thursdays, we do 3 Count Thursday, which is our wrestling show. And on Fridays, we do In the Batter's Box, which is our weekly baseball podcast. All right. If anyone viewed their show last week, you saw that we went through our weekly breakdowns of the entire week 3 games with the spread. I have a quick standings update. I'll let you guys know that last week, Joe Germani finished with 6 correct games, went 2-5 against the spread, 4-4 in the over-unders, and had 40%, and is currently in last place.
This is 40%. Piss poor effort. Piss poor.
Expect better from Joe.
Piss poor.
So second place is the close one for the top,
Playing the Dolphins.
with 8 points, only picking 1 game on the over-unders, and going 1-0. 7-6 against the spread, total of 8 points, going 53% last week. I mean, that's Bean.
Take second.
That means in first right now, leading the way with 9 points. I went 5-3 against the spread, 4-3 against the over-unders, 60% overall. I am your leader. That means cowbell belongs to me. I'll be ringing that thing. I'm not gonna ring it too much. You know, it's only the first week for us, but don't expect this thing to go too far. What do you guys thoughts about week 3? What do you think surprised you? Anything out of the ordinary?
I was very surprised about the Dolphins. I really thought the Jets game was going to go over. I felt good about it. I said, you know what, Jay Cutler looked good. He looked good. They won at the Chargers. I was like, okay, you know what, maybe they could score some points. 6 points against the Jets, the worst team in football. Are you kidding me, Jay Cutler? Are you kidding me?
Try to tell you, Joe.
You should have listened, man. I was so wrong.
Another game that surprised me that me and Ty both picked the right scheme for the spread, but how bad did the Ravens look? They looked atrocious in London, 44-6, and it wasn't that close. How about the Jags doing a fake punt up 35-0? That's good stuff right there. But the Ravens looked atrocious. I really want to see hopefully just because they were overseas, they had the time zone, had them all messed up. I really want to see a better response from that defense. I think is better than that. And on offense, they faced 2 subpar teams before the Jaguars defense. And we'll see what the Ravens got, but they did not impress me at all. Anything that surprised you, Ty?
I think the biggest game you were talking about is Big Joe called you stupid on, which was the Bengals against the Packers. He said they might not win, which I was covering. And I knew it. So Mr. 40% over there can keep his
comments
keep his remarks to himself this week as he's sitting there in last place.
Man, you didn't even make your picks. I want you guys to know out there that he just made picks. He had no idea what he was doing. He was like, oh, I guess I like the Bengals this week. Like, no.
Excuses.
Yeah, always.
Okay. All right. Next thing is, last week we did a segment called How I Lost My Card. And on the cards this week, we didn't do very well. We didn't really have a bad beat, any game that really cost us.
Except for the Bucs.
Bucs did cost us, but we had other things on the card too that failed us, and there wasn't really a bad beat. So what we're going to do instead is a new segment called Line Pushers, which is basically any game that was close to the line, further with the line, maybe won over and then came back. I'll get to that in a second. But this segment I'll be doing is called Line Pushers. And so the first game that really pushed the line was the game that Ty mentioned, which was the Packers-Bengals. The over 45.5, which I took on the card last week. I really liked it. I thought they were going to score some points. I thought the Bengals were going to get going finally, and they did. They actually went out to a big lead against the Packers and had to force Aaron Rodgers to come back in the game. And we got 4 minutes left. The Bengals just kicked the field goal. They went up 7 points, and the Packers were forced to go down the field and score a touchdown. The score at that point was 24-17, making the game under, but a touchdown would have pushed it over. And so as Packers force OT, the game goes over. Or if not, Bengals win and the game goes under. What do you know? Aaron Rodgers drives down the field in 3 minutes and 30 seconds, 12 plays, 75 yards for a touchdown. They go to overtime and win the game and seal the over. So that was an interesting one. Another interesting game was the Lions-Falcons at 2.5. And if you had the Lions on your card, I feel for you. I really do.
We do feel for you.
We had the Falcons, so we like that outcome. But if anyone doesn't know, the Lions were down by 4, driving down the field. Matthew Stafford at the goal line, 3rd down and goal, about 12 seconds left, clock's running. Finds Golden Tate on a little slant route. So they rule him into the end zone for a touchdown. After review, they said that he was a half yard short, which honestly I couldn't see. I think he might have been in, but it's neither here nor there. They called him down, and then because of the running clock, the Lions were out of timeouts. The game ended on a runoff, and the final score was Falcons 30, Lions 26. A bad beat for the Lions, who had the game won and got taken right away from them and never had the one last opportunity to win. So that was a rough one and very interesting. I know that had to be tough on the heart if you had the Lions or the Falcons. But the last game that really was pushing the line, pushing the spread, was the over 47.5 in the Cowboys-Cardinals game. I was sweating this one out to the last second. The score was 28-27 final. It's that 28-17 final. 45 total points scored. But the Cardinals were driving down the field. They had multiple opportunities to take a field goal to make it a one-possession game, which would have pushed the spread over. But Bruce Arians decided to go for the touchdown. He kept pushing. They got all the way down to the goal line. 4th down and goal. About 20 seconds left. It's either in the end zone, it goes over. They don't get it. Goes under. Incomplete pass. Under hits. And I'm your winner for the week now because of that. That was the game that pushed me over the edge. And yeah, it was a very, very interesting game. Another game that was close was the Saints-Panthers game at 47.5. Finished at 47. That's interesting. But yeah, so that is your line pushers for week 3. Anything you guys want to add? Anything else you saw this week?
I saw the Saints-Panthers game. I felt really good about that game. That game, I think it was the over-under was 47.5, right? Does that sound about right? I think they finished at like 40, 45, I want to say.
47.
47. No, they finished at 47. Yeah, it was.
By half.
I remember it was the Saints or the Panthers driving down the field. Saints got the game in the bag the whole way, and I'm just sitting there at work, just like, please don't score, please don't score, please don't score. And they turn the ball over, and everything goes well, and then the Saints run out the clock. But that was a close one.
And that game very easily could have gone over because they kicked 4 total field goals, which they got in the red zone. They got opportunities to score, and then Ben don't break saved us today and under hit. So yeah, that is our segment called Line Pushers. You know, we'll go back and forth between how I lost my card and this, depending on if you have any good bad beats for you guys. We won't give you a bad beat story that isn't really a bad beat, so we'll just talk about what's on the line. All right, so after that, we go straight into week 4 football. I'm ready to get some dubs. What you guys thinking? Any games that excite you this week before we get started into it that pop out to you?
Eagles.
Eagles
going to dominate. It's going to be a home game. Expect a big win.
Don't take too much of that. That's the homer talking.
The line's moving.
What about you, Joe?
I kind of like the Pats this week, minus 9.5. I know it's a lot of points. I know what happened last week against the Texans, but honestly, the Carolina's offense has just looked atrocious. Like, they haven't been able. Cam hasn't looked nearly as good as he's looked in the past 2 seasons. I think the Patriots need a statement win here to seal it, to show that they're the Super Bowl favorites again this year. So I like them minus 9.5.
All right, well, first game we're going to get into, talk about, is the Saints minus 2.5 against the Dolphins. Over-under is 49.5. The game is being played in London. Just get some thoughts out. What do you guys think about this game? What do you think the matchups? What do you think you're looking for?
I think you're looking really at a Jay if he has a big game or not, and I think that really depends. He's coming home to England where he was born. It's a big game for him, but I believe the Saints really do pull this out, minus 2.5. Coming off a big game, and the Dolphins looked awful against the Jets. Losing 6-20. That was just bad. And so expect the Saints to win big. Kind of like, I wouldn't say as big of a blowout as the Jaguars game last week, but expected in that range. Saints put up a lot of points.
I think the biggest thing I'm looking for here is can the Dolphins stop Drew Brees? Because Drew Brees showed that they finally got that offense going. They're still doing a running back by committee, but it was nice to see Michael Thomas finally get going. Brees getting the flow of offense, he felt comfortable with, kept him better last week. And if they can do that, I see the Saints rolling all over the Dolphins. I don't think the Dolphins are that good. The defense is okay, but that offense is inconsistent. You never know what you're going to get from Jay Cutler. Jay Ajayi, he is going to London, back to his hometown, but he's a little banged up, and he hasn't been running the ball great. So I'm not sold on the Dolphins, relying on him too much. And I think they're going to be behind in the game early, so they have to start forcing Cutler to throw the ball more. My pick is the Saints -2.5. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, I'm going the same way here. I'm going Saints -2.5. London games are kind of hard to predict because you don't really know what's going to happen all the time. But I think this week, Willie Snead should be back this week. Him and Michael Thomas together were two of Drew Brees' favorite targets. Even though they lost Brandon Cooks, I think Willie Snead's going to step up here. I think he might have a decent year. So I like the Saints -2.5 here as well.
First pick, consensus. Stands. Put that for our two lives. Alright, the next game that Joe previewed a little bit, I'll let him start out with this one. We got Patriots versus the Panthers. Patriots are -9.5 at home. The over-under is 48.5. Patriots last week had a big win against the Texans. Made it interesting, did not cover the spread. The Panthers, of course, lost at home to the Saints, we just mentioned. So, Joe, what do you think about this one? 48.5 over-under. Boys favored by 9.5.
I'm liking, as I said earlier, I'm liking the Pats here. I really think that Brandon Cooks went off last week, and you saw a little bit of preview of what he could look like in this offense if they utilize him fully. I just think they have too many weapons for Carolina. That defense is okay, but if they're out on the field for 3/4 of the game, I think eventually they're going to start giving up points. I also like the over in this one at 48.5. Yeah, I like the over too. But I'm taking the spread 9.5.
9.5. See, I do like the Patriots. I think they win the game, but something tells me Carolina's going to keep this one close. I think it's going to be a defensive battle. I think Carolina's played good defense throughout the first 3 games. They gave up a little bit of points last week against Drew Brees, but it's kind of hard not to against that offense, especially since they were in such a run to start the year. So I still think that Panthers defense is solid, and they have not looked good at offense at all. Cam Newton, he looks injured still. Kelvin Benjamin's banged up this week. I'm not sure if he's playing. He's questionable right now. Has a knee injury. Christian McCaffrey has looked good, but they've all been relatively getting his yardage and garbage time, and situation doesn't really matter. You haven't really seen him make a big impact or key play on the offense. So I don't see a lot of points, and 48.5 is a lot. I'm taking the under in this one. What do you think, tonight?
I think the Patriots are going to win big against Panthers. Panthers really have not looked well at all this year at any point. They got blown out last week against the Saints, and I feel like they're just going to get blown out again against the Patriots. Patriots coming in with the worst defense. Everybody knows that. I feel like they have something to prove this week to everybody. Against Panthers, who have been struggling on offense, it'll be great for them if they could figure it out this week and get some momentum going for them following weeks to finally shut some offenses down. So I got the Patriots -9.5.
Do like the Patriots. It's just something in my gut's telling me Panthers make this one close, and I think it's going to be relatively low scoring. But hey, what do I know? All right, so next thing's up. We got Cowboys -7.5 against the Rams. Over-under 46.5. Dallas is at home here. They looked all right against the Cardinals. They got that offense going in the second half. Dak looked good. Zeke started rolling a little bit, scored a touchdown. Rams looked really good last Thursday night. That offense got it going. Jared Goff is looking like he's taking the next step. He really is more comfortable in that offense. I think Sean McVay is doing wonders for him. And the biggest thing is they're not making him do too much. They're giving the ball to Todd Gurley, putting the ball in the playmakers' hands, and letting them do their thing. That defense, which did give up a lot of points last week, not to their fault of their own. There was some shenanigans with a fumble kickoff by Tavon Austin and the onside kick late. They made the game interesting. But overall, I still think that Rams defense is pretty good. I think they can contain Dak and Zeke a little bit. They get pressured. They get to Dak. I think the Rams are going to be in good shape. And 7.5 is a lot, but I think the Rams are a much improved team. Second hardest spread to cover. I'm going with the Rams +7.5 here. What do you think, Todd?
I went to Rams +7.5 as well. I think the Cowboys, they bounce back kinda, I guess you could say, against a Cardinals team that didn't have David Johnson. Very mediocre offensive team. And Carson Palmer was not playing his best. I think Jared Goff really took the next level with the hiring of Sean McVay. Yeah. He really took the next step. And that's why I have the Rams plus 7.5. I feel confident with them keeping up with the Cowboys, at least keeping it close. And I think they really do win this game.
I like, honestly, I took the over here at 46.5, but I honestly like the Rams too. I think the Rams are a good pick here. I think the Cowboys defense hasn't been great. I think they've given up a lot of yards. I think against Todd Gurley, I think that offensive line has shown that they can block for him and they can get him some yards versus last year. I think Jared Goff's going to be able to do enough, maybe score a few touchdowns, but I think in the end, it's going to go over at 46.5.
Yeah, I just think it's too many points, honestly. That's just my biggest factor.
That line's on the move, man. It's at 46.5 right now. It's already jumped to 48.5 on some sites, 49 on other sites.
You're shooting the gun a little bit.
A little bit.
We got a segment later on today. What's moving? Just know about all the lines. We get the lines on the DE Sports Lottery card that comes out on Wednesday. So whatever that is on Wednesday, that's what we get them at. But the lines are always moving. And so Joe's had a little segment today talking about what to look for with that. But next, we got the Vikings minus 1.5 at home against the Lions. The spread over-under on that is 43.5. What are you leaning towards on this one, Joe?
I'm leaning towards the over at 43.5 here. I think that the Vikings showed that they can score points with Case Keenum, which I didn't think that they could do, but apparently they can score with Case Keenum. So I like them to put up a few touchdowns here. I think the Lions offense with Stafford has looked better, but I think they'll be able to hold on. I think they'll be able to. This might be a shootout, so I'm going with the over here.
How about you, Ty?
Yeah, I like Minnesota here minus 1.5. Minnesota doesn't really seem to matter who's at quarterback right now. They just seem to get it done. Thielen and Diggs are ranked second and third in receiving yards right now. I just think the Minnesota just has too much firepower for the Lions to keep up with them, and Minnesota's defense is just so good. Like I just see Matt Stafford having a really tough time trying to score on that defense.
So, Vikings
minus 1.5.
The Vikings are one of those teams that I remember what they did last year. Started out super strong. I believe it was 5-0. The final loss to the Eagles, right?
Yeah.
It was the first game of the season. That defense was phenomenal. They came down to earth, and I'm not sold on Case Keenum. He had a fantastic game, 369 yards last week against the Bucs. A pretty good Bucs defense too. It made them look awful. But I'm not sold. I'm not buying. But I'm also not sold on Matt Stafford and the Lions team. I think both teams have really good defenses, which is making me lean towards the under. Division matchup. They always can play each other tough. This game is very important. I just don't see a lot of points for it. I think that defense gets to Stafford. They put some pressure on him. I kind of leaning towards the Lions on some teasers, maybe getting the 1.5, maybe up to 7, 7.5, 59. I think the games will be fairly close, but my pick is the under 43.5. How about that, Joe?
You take it if you want.
Screw your over. I like that we have all big different games. Points are up for grabs, but it's a big game, big point game next week. All right, next thing's up. We have the Titans minus 1.5 at the Texans. Over-under is 43.5. I'm feel very confident in this game. I'm big on the Titans right now. I think the way they're running the ball with Murray and Derrick Henry is probably the best two-headed back to do it in all football right now. And Mariota is managing the game well. He's not making mistakes. He's putting them in position to win. And that defense is doing more than enough to give them a chance. And they basically blew out Seattle. Seattle scored a touchdown late. They blew out the Jaguars. And they played a tough game week 1 against the Raiders they were into until the fourth quarter. So I think the Titans look really good right now. Minus 1.5 against the Texans, who looked terrible on Thursday Night Football against the Bengals when they stole a win. They looked much better last week against the Patriots. The Patriots defense is suspect. They're ranked last right now. I think the Titans are not going to let Deshaun Watson throw the ball for over 300 yards again. It's going to be a lot of running the ball. And I just don't see the Texans getting it done. So my pick here is the Titans minus 1.5. Thank you, Joe.
It's interesting. This game, I really, I'm gonna take the Texans here plus 1.5. I think I'm not really sold on this Titans team. I think that the Texans looked good last week. I think their defense is still good. I think they can put up some points at home. I think if they're gonna win, I think this is the game they can win at home. I think they can put up enough points against the Titans to cover those points. I don't think they're gonna need them either way. I think they win straight up.
I disagree with you, Joe. I think the Titans they're going to win big here against the Texans. Titans ran the ball very well on a Seahawks defense that prioritizes on stopping the run, and they just couldn't stop them at all. The Titans have this where they put in 6 offensive linemen, they run the ball, average 5 or 6 yards a carry, which has been pretty much unstoppable. No team has been able to stop it, and I think they continue to do that. They need this win for their division. It's a big win for them, and they're going to be in first place.
I agree. This is a big divisional game for the standings. It's the first time they matched up this year. They're probably the 2 best teams in the division. And the Texans are defending champions. The Titans are favorites this year. So this is a huge matchup for the division. Both 1 and 2 and 2 and 1. This is get even. And I just think the Titans get it done here. It's a big game for them. And I just look for Mariota to shine in this one. I think he finally has his breakout game of the season. It hasn't been bad, but he's been about average. Done enough so far this season. But this is really his breakthrough game.
Really, he gets his Texans defense at home. Really think he's gonna put up a lot of points.
The Texans defense has been great this year. To me, it looks suspect against the Jags week 1. Gave a lot of points to Brady, although it is Brady.
It is Brady at home, but Cameron.
I think this Titans team is a class above the Texans. I think they can show that this Sunday. So, there we go. All right, now we get some AFC North matchups here before we do our next segment. We got Bengals minus 3.5. Stupid pick. At the Browns. The over-under this game is 39.5. Yeah, what do you think about the Bengals? Minus 3.5 against the Browns.
Should you got an order?
No.
Hold on.
All right, Ty, what do you think about
the Jags Texas game? Jags Texas.
I think that the Bengals are going to win here minus 3.5, but I also like the over at 39.5. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. The defenses aren't that good. The Bengals seemed to figure it out last week, scoring 20-something points on offense, but yeah, I would take the over. I'm definitely taking the over here at 39.5. Over there.
To me, the pick here is the Bengals minus 3.5. They looked much better last week with the new offensive coordinator. Joe Mixon got involved. AJ Green got involved. Andy Dalton was much more comfortable with that offense. So that would make me lean towards the over a little bit too. But I think the Browns look pretty bad. I feel like they had a winnable game last week against the Colts. They looked too Jacoby Brissett, ran all over them. They couldn't stop them. They put up 28 points in the first half. They inched back at the end, but that game was really a poor effort for the Browns. Even though they're at home, division matchup, I think the Bengals go and get their first win of the year after coming so close last week, and they covered that 3.5 spread. So I'm gonna go with the Bengals here.
I'm with Ty on this one. I'm going with the over 39.5. I think that the Bengals offense showed some new life last week. I think we finally saw this Bengals offense that we were expecting. I think this Browns offense showed that they can, with DeShone Kizer, can put up more points than people expected. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game at home. I'm not really keen on either team's defense in this one, so I'm going with the over.
Browns last week, they really had a chance.
So many points, man.
Brissett just tore them apart. All right, real quick. Apparently, I skipped the game. This is my bad. How could I forget it? Jaguars, Jets. Jaguars minus 3.5. On the road against the Jets. The over-under is 39.5. I like the Jags this week, I think. Coming back from London, they have a chip on their shoulder. That defense looked really good again. Miles Jack's playing well. Kyle Campbell. The cornerbacks are nasty. Led by Jalen Ramsey. So they got a lot of talent over there. And so the Jets, they got to win against the Dolphins. That's not saying much. I think the Dolphins are one of the worst teams in football as well. So I'm going to go with the Jags to take that 3.5 and cover the spread. What's you guys thinking?
I like the Jags as well, -3.5. Just think they're a better football team than the Jets everywhere. And I just think Josh McCown's going to have a tough time trying to throw the football on Jalen Ramsey and A.J. Boye. And then that defense is just playing very well. And it just killed Joe Flacco, who's an elite quarterback, to 28 yards.
28 yards.
I think he was injured in that game. Honestly, like he's had those back problems. He did not look that good. He did not look like the Super Bowl winning Joe Flacco that I know.
Anyway, I heard Joe Flacco is better than any quarterback on the Jets roster, so just keep that in mind.
It's not wrong.
All right, so you're going with the Jags here, too?
Jags.
What you doing, Joe?
Yeah, I'm taking the Jags. Honestly, this kind of feels like a trap game to me. Kind of, honestly, like I think they should get minus way more points here, but I mean at 3.5, I kind of like them. I think the Jaguars defense like good. So I'm going with the Jags here. The Jets offense, like I know that they scored those points in the Dolphins last week at home, and I know they look decent, but they're one of the worst teams in football, and I think they really show that this week how bad they are.
There we go. Got that consensus. I like that. I can't believe you got it already. Alright,
It's been the best game on Sunday.
it's gonna be a good game. Great game.
Yeah, I'm not going to watch that one.
Can't wait. Alright, next up, last game before our break. We're gonna go with the Steelers -3.5 at the Ravens, 42.5 over under. What do you guys think?
I was a big fan of the Ravens +3.5. Then I figured out today Brandon Williams, who's probably the Ravens' best player on defense, will not be playing. So I switch that. Steelers -3.5. They're gonna kill it.
What about you, Joe?
I'm taking the under here at 42.5. I looked up, I did some research. The under has gone under 5 out of 6 times between these teams the last 2 times. I think what I said about Joe Flacco not looking completely healthy. Big Ben never plays well on the road. I think I'm taking the under here. I don't think a lot of points are scored.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Joe on this one. Something my dad always told me to talk about Ravens Steelers football is take the under. You don't know what's gonna happen. These teams are gonna play smash mouth football. It's a big game. The Ravens looked awful last week in London, so there's no way in the world I'm taking them. Big Ben, you've seen his numbers on the road. How can you feel good about taking Big Ben and the Steelers in a divisional matchup? Take the under. Feel good about it. 42.5. Next thing, and that is getting a little break here from our week 4 picks. Get into another segment, a recurring segment, which we call Saturday for the Boys in college football. Last week, my man Ty Bean took over this segment, had 3 picks. Didn't go as planned. I'm gonna let Ty take over here in your segment. First of all, what happened last week, and then your picks for this week.
You know, last week I picked the Oklahoma Sooners to play the Baylor Bears, who might be the worst college football team out there.
Not last week.
Just decided to let them score 30-something points.
41 points.
After limiting Ohio State to 13 or 6, some low amount, they give Baylor 30-something points. Who is the worst team? I can't even believe that. Oklahoma, whoever coaches, just get fired right away.
It's not Bob Stoops anymore.
Yeah, whatever. Get rid of him. He's awful. I don't even like it.
We want Bob Stoops.
Then, UCLA just decided not even to show up and Bryce Love run all over the team. Run for 275 yards. Looked like he played 3 games in one. I thought he was so tired. They had 3 quarterbacks coming as well. It was amazing. All of them were 100%, seemed like it. And so there we go. And then, Florida decided to score, learn how to play offense this week, which is something who knew that,
New Kentucky didn't score either.
But it's all right. I wasn't feeling good about last week anyway. This week, 100%. Take it to the bank.
Need that. Nothing short of spectacular.
Nothing.
What we doing, Ty?
This week, we have another awful team playing a pretty good team. USF, South Florida is -21.5 against East Carolina University. East Carolina is awful.
Very bad.
Very bad.
Lost
Very
the
bad.
game by
And
14 in
South
the
Florida killed Temple last week, which hurts me to say because I'm a huge Temple fan. But we did bet on South Florida last week, and they dominated Temple, and I expect the same thing this week against probably even worse team than ECU. Next, I like maybe against Tulsa. Tulsa is up there as one of the highest-ranking scoring teams in NCAA, but don't worry about that. After this week, they're going to get shut out by Navy, -7.5. I like Navy on the road at Tulsa. And then we have the Dogs as University of Georgia
Go Dogs!
versus Tennessee. Don't believe the hype in the Dogs. Go Bolts, +7.5 on upset alert.
What?
Take it to the bank.
Nick Chubb's gonna have a huge game. You heard it here first.
Alright, we got some bold predictions from Ty.
Very
Go
bold.
ahead.
Very bold. Some would say bolder than last week.
Hey, guys, change it up,
Yeah.
So that is Saturday for the boys in college football. We'll let you guys know next week on how we do. Hopefully it's better than last week.
Stop watching once it gets outside.
You'll sound a bit enthusiastic there.
How does Baylor
I don't know,
lose
man.
to Liberty
Dude, I don't
and then
know.
score 41 points on Oklahoma?
Shocking.
All those Baylor just looked like it was in the dumps, man. Just looked like they're in the dumpster like after this year. I guess not. I guess
I mean,
they figured it out.
hey, Matt Rule. Temple.
Figure something out.
Alright, let's get back into week 4 games. Go over the spread. We got Falcons -8.5 versus the Bills. Over under is 48.5. I am all in on the Falcons right now. I think they look good last week against the Lions. They kind of at late they stopped playing their game. They thought they had in the bag, try to run away with it and seal it up. And Lions got the ball, had the opportunity to score. They got a big defensive stand, I guess, but they did enough to win. But I think this Falcons team is they're really hitting on all cylinders right now on offense. Julio Jones, what more can you say about the man? He gets the ball in his hands. It takes 3 people to bring him down. Matt Ryan's playing at MVP level still. He hasn't really dropped a step from last season. Devontae Freeman's running the ball hard. I think it's really hard for this Bills team to stop him at all on defense. Even though it's pretty good defense, I think they expose their corners. They put the points on the board. And it's going to be really hard for the Bills to get anything going because the offensive line isn't great and Falcons have a pretty good pass rush. They're going to make Tyrod's life a living hell. And the whole thing with the Bills is they go as Shady's go. So we'll see about how he does against that team, against the Falcons. But I think the Falcons are going to keen in on Shady. So I don't expect a big day for him. I think the Falcons cover the 8.5 against the Bills. What about you, Ty?
Ty, I think you're wrong, man. I believe in the Bills. Give me Tyrod. All right.
Wow.
Pick Tyrod up in my fantasy league this week. He should be your starter. Had Matt Stafford benching him. Don't even want him. Tyrod Taylor, put him in there against the Falcons. He's going to run all over them. Expect this to be a shootout. This is going to go into the 30s.
The Bills can score 30 points.
Oh, yeah. Falcons have not really been that great on defense this year. They've given up the most rushing yards to quarterbacks this year as well. Tyrod Taylor, who's the rushing quarterback, should have a big day.
I'm with Ty on this one. I'm all in on the Falcons. I think they look even better than they did last year. I think they made some serious improvements on their defense, which was like a lot of people's concern in them. I think Matt Ryan hasn't lost a step, just like you said. I think the Falcons played extremely well against the Lions last week. They should have lost that game, but they still put up a lot of points. And the Bills might be one of the worst 2-1 teams in the NFL right now. I know they beat the Broncos last week, but that game, Trevor Siemian just really did not play well with some stuff like that. I mean, there are only 2 wins this year at home. Their loss was to week 2. They lost 3-9 at Carolina. I really don't like the Bills this week. I think the Falcons are going to blow them out.
I'm with you, Joe. I'm with you. I think Falcons. They're the best team in the NFC right now.
Maybe the best 2. Well, keep those opinions to yourself.
Come on.
We want to hear that.
Next up, one of the teams that I called one of the best teams in football last week. I guess I got to tune that down a little bit. I'll slow down the bandwagon. The Bucks -2.5 versus the Giants. Over under 44.5. Bucks got demolished last week. Vikings. Case Keenum did whatever they wanted. Stephon Diggs had himself a day. The Giants fought right back into the game against the Eagles. The Eagles thought they had in hand until the fourth quarter came around. But the Giants still didn't impress me too much. It was more like what the Eagles didn't do than what the Giants did do. And it was more of an Odell Beckham showcase. He had himself a nice little fourth quarter, 2 touchdowns. But I think this Bucs defense is really good. And I was leaning toward taking the Bucs, but just inconsistency they showed last week. I really wanted them to show me something and make a statement. And it's hard for me to believe the Giants are starting out 0-4, but they had not looked good at all. So it's making me lean towards the under 44.5. I think there should be 2 pretty good defenses. That offense for James Winston has a lot of new weapons. gonna need a little while to get going. I don't think this is the best week to get it going against the Giants defense. It's a pretty good front seven, so it gets pressure in his face. So I'm taking the under 44.5. What about you, Ty?
Hurts me to say this, but I have the Giants winning this week against the Bucks. But plus 2.5, this is a must win. A must win for Ben McAdoo to save his job in New York. After this year, he could be fired if they don't figure this out. If they don't turn this ship around soon. Because it's sinking. It is definitely sinking right now. And so the Giants need to turn around here, and I think they do against a Bucks team that did not play well at all last week against the Vikings that had a backup quarterback in Case Keenum, and like Giants this week, plus 2.5.
I'm with Ty on this one. I'm taking the under at 44.5. Honestly, I think I was a little too much into the Bucks, just like Ty. But I think I need to see a couple more games from the Bucks before I really feel like I get a good idea of how good of a team they are. The Giants, like you said, have looked awful, but they only put up those points in the fourth quarter because I can't believe Ty didn't mention this, but all the Eagles injuries that they had. They had like 4 out of their 6 defensive backs got injured. Which you have Fletcher Cox went out, Jordan Hicks went out. And after all those guys went out, that points we didn't see anything from Eli Manning in this Giants offense before they had injuries on their Eagles had injuries on their defense. So I'm taking the under here at 44.5.
I don't see a lot of points in this score. But here, maybe watch it be.
It's gonna be a 60-point game.
It's probably gonna be a shootout.
It's gonna be a
Odell's gonna go for 200. You see Deshaun have a big day. Mike Evans. Look out for Chris Godwin, Delaware's own. All right, next thing's up. Ready, Ty?
Oh, I'm ready.
We have in the trap game of the week, Eagles minus -0.5 point at the Chargers, over under 46.5. To me, let me just open up this. I think the Eagles are the better team here. I think they're much better. Better defense, better offensively, they're better at the quarterback position. They're better pretty much everywhere. We're going to Los Angeles, playing a desperate Chargers team, looking for the first win of the season. It's a trap, and Vegas knows it's a trap. That's why they put the spread at -0.5 point. They're trying to get people to bet towards the Eagles. And honestly, I would take the Chargers on those times because I think it's a trap, but it makes me lean toward the under. I think the Eagles defense is really good. They have one of the best front sevens in football. They're going to make Philip Rivers run all over the place. When he gets pressure in his face, that's when he gets happy feet, throws the ball on his back foot, does get some turnovers. So, and on offensively for the Eagles, I think the Chargers defense isn't bad, but the Eagles have also struggled with this consistent run game. Darren Sproles, we'll see how that we recover without that. Just too many questions. 46.5, decently high spread. I'm going to take the under in this one and not mess with the trap Vegas is setting. Ty, take it away.
See, Ty, I think you're wrong, man. I think you guys should put all the money you guys have in your savings account and bet this game on the Eagles. There's no way the Philadelphia Eagles lose this game. This is going to be basically a home game for the Eagles. The San Diego Chargers are playing in an MLS stadium which holds 27,000 people, and 50% of the people don't even show up to the games for the Chargers. The second biggest fan base for Philadelphia Eagles fans is in San Diego. They are all buying StubHub tickets. It's going to be a home game for the Eagles. Take it to the bank. Eagles are going to dominate the Chargers and go 3-1, be on top of the division.
Yeah, as much as I hate to fall into the bandwagons and stuff, I'm going with the Eagles here, minus -0.5 point. I think that it feels kind of like a trap game, like Ty said. But I'm currently I hate to foreshadow a little bit, but I'm looking at the lines here and stuff, and Vegas really wants people to bet on the Chargers. They're giving up. Now they're at -2 points. They really think people are really betting on the Chargers in this game because they really don't think they're going to go 0-4. But I think they're going to go 0-4. I haven't seen nearly enough from them. Melvin Gordon's about the only good player on offense on that team, it looks like. So I'm not going with him.
I think look at Keenan Allen have a pretty good
He
game.
looked okay, but
I don't know who's going to cover him, honestly. I think it's a mismatch for the Eagles. Also, Tyrell Williams, not a bad option. So
they've looked okay.
the Chargers have
Once it got down to the fourth quarter and Fletcher Cox and Jordan Hicks for the Eagles, two best defensive players were out of the game, that's when the Giants started to turn on. I don't see Jordan Hicks coming back. I think Fletcher Cox will be out this week, but I think King Jurgens going to be able to. The defensive line is good enough to live without Fletcher Cox for 1 week, as long as we have Jordan Hicks back. Rodney McLeod, our other starting safety, along with Malcolm Jenkins, come back this week too. Eagles will win it.
Guys,
They want you to believe the Chargers are going to win. Eagles are winning.
guys, I told you last week. Trap of the week was the Redskins plus 3.5. Trap of the week this week is the Chargers plus a half point. There's a reason why the spread is the way it is. Vegas has a feeling. They know something we don't. I think the Chargers win, but I'm taking the under here because I don't want to touch it. I'm not falling for that trap. I'm not going near it. Just let it go. But I'm giving you my due discretion. Don't touch the Eagles.
Put all your money on the Eagles.
A little biased over there.
A little bit. All right. Next up, we got the Cardinals minus 7.5 versus the 49ers. Over under in this one's 44.5. Cardinals, they're kind of meh. I feel like their season's kind of over since David Johnson's out for the year. That was their whole offense, and it kind of like put the life out of them. The Cowboys, they had one off their own lead. They looked good for a while, but then they just couldn't get anything going offensively. The 49ers put up 39 points against a pretty good Rams defense, and they looked pretty good against the Seahawks. They were in the game. They had a lead in the fourth quarter. And so, to me, the pick here is the Niners plus 7.5. Division matchup. It's a third division matchup for the Niners. They played 2 close games already. And the Cardinals, I'm not convinced on offense that they can score a lot of points, especially against a 49ers defense that's improved from last year. So, to me, the pick is 49ers plus 7.5. What about you, Joe?
This is personally, I'm not a huge fan of this game. I think Arizona looked good in the first half against Dallas. I think they looked really good, like they were going to win the game, and then their defense just looked bad. Even their centerpiece of their defense didn't look great against the Cowboys, and the Cowboys found a way to score some points. So in this one, I think I might regret it, but I think I'm going the over at 44.5 here. I think the Cardinals can put up enough points. I think the 49ers defense is better than people have expected, but I really think that as time goes on, maybe the first half might be low scoring, but the second half, these two teams are going to turn it on and score some points.
I think it's crazy. I think you should take it under. 100%. There's no way anybody's going to be scoring this game. Yeah.
I'm going to be leaning toward tie on this one. And we definitely go to the under more than you. Cardinals, Niners, they don't have a lot of weapons to scare anybody.
John Brown's also questionable.
Fitz had a big game against Dallas, but
Dallas has really nobody in the secondary.
I just think it's going to be a close, low-scoring affair.
A nice 6-9 matchup, or 6-3, something like that. Looks like a baseball score.
Yeah. All right. Got a few more games left. Next up, we're doing the Broncos minus 2.5 at home against the Raiders. Over under 46.5. Raiders coming off getting that butt whooped in DC. They did nothing offensively. Amari Cooper and Mike Crabtree were irrelevant. Derek Carr looked awful. Didn't get anything going through 2 interceptions. Marshawn Lynch gets stuffed. On defense, they couldn't really contain the Redskins. The Redskins ran the ball pretty well. We converted third downs. Kirk Cousins picked it apart. But I think the Raiders get a bounce back win here. The Broncos also didn't look great last week against Buffalo. I think you're going to see Amari Cooper get going. He has had a suspect first few games, dropping a lot of balls. So I expect him to get going. And this is a really big matchup for the division because you don't want to fall 2 games behind the Chiefs, either team, and fall behind the Chiefs. And this is very important. They're obviously one of the two playoff contenders. I think the Raiders need a big W here. Getting points, I feel good about it. I'm taking the Raiders plus 2.5.
Yeah, I'm with Ty on this one. I'm taking the Raiders plus 2.5. I think they looked absolutely awful against the Redskins. It didn't even look like the same Derek Carr on the same Raiders team. But I think this Raiders team is still early in the season, so we don't really know which teams are going to be the teams that are going to push longer in the playoffs and stuff. But I think the Raiders are the better team here. Even on the road, I think they can figure it out and get the win here.
I called it last week with Ty. I knew the Redskins game last week was a big trap. We all had a feeling the Redskins were going to win that. And so I really think Oakland bounces back this week against the Broncos. The Broncos played awful against Buffalo. Yeah, they lost to Buffalo. And so Oakland's getting 3.5. They have one of the best offenses in football. feel very confident taking over this week.
Trevor
Balance of that.
Simeon and Anderson, it looked like they kind of went away from Anderson and last week against the Bills. After a great game against Dallas, I thought that he more of a focal point. But Jamal Charles actually had more carries last week, had a touchdown, so it's kind of interesting. The Broncos don't really know what they're doing at running back. Trevor Simeon needs the running game to get going to open up his game. And I think the Raiders are pretty stout running the ball, so I'm going to go with the Raiders plus 2.5. Overall consensus here. I think it's a pretty good pick. All right. Sunday Night Football. You got Seahawks minus 13.5 at home against the Colts.
Sunday Night Football. Sunday Night Football.
Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, this is an awful game.
It's an awful Sunday Night Football game.
Can you change it?
Broncos Raiders game. What do you think about it? I think the Seahawks roll. I think they finally get it together. Doug Baldwin looked good last week. I think it's going to be the biggest mismatch again. Russell Wilson's going to feed him the ball. They're going to try and get the run game going. But the biggest mismatch here is Jacoby Brissett facing the Seahawks defense. He's getting for a world of trouble. They're going to be sending all different kind of packages at him, blitz packages, different schemes, making him all types of confused. And I think the Seahawks force a lot of turnovers. They get on him early and they get on him late. And I think it's going to be a lot to nothing in this game. So I'm going to go with the Seahawks minus 13.5 and a stinker on Sunday Night Football.
I don't see where a tie is wrong anywhere. Seahawks minus 13. Colts are awful. Awful. The same team they are when Andrew Luck's playing. First one is not. And that defense is just still bad.
Even with Vontae Davis back, didn't look great.
Nothing special there. This game, like, you're also probably not going to be watching unless you got, like, Doug Baldwin playing or something. That's the only reason why I'm going to be watching this. It should be a blowout for the Seahawks.
Yeah, I'm with them on this one. 13.5 is too many points for me, so I'm going to take the over at 41.5. But I think Jacoby Brissett is going to show people enough. I think he showed people enough last week. He might be able to score a touchdown or two, push this game over. I think 41.5 is really, really low for this game. I think the Seahawks offense is going to roll like they said against the Colts. I think they might score 40 points themselves, honestly. So I'm taking the over at 41.5.
Next up, last but not least, my guys, the Redskins coming off a huge win against the Raiders. Another AFC West opponent on primetime, Monday Night Football. It is the Chiefs minus 6.5 at home against the Redskins. Over-under 49.5. How much you guys saw that? Let's see what you guys think before you get my opinion.
Personally, I think for the game, the Chiefs are going to win. But I'm taking Skins plus 6.5 here because I think they keep it close. I think that it's going to be like 24-21, a really, really close offensive game, like defensive game, my bad. And the Skins, they probably have the second best defense in the NFC East outside of the Eagles, so you can take that as you want.
Thanks. Feel a little good about
Second best. Just have to put that in there.
Yeah, I'm with Ty on this. So I'm taking the Redskins plus 6.5. I think that's way too many points. I think the Redskins. I think they showed last week that their defense can do great things, and I think that they're going to be able to hold it within 6.5 points against the Chiefs. I think that's way too many points.
I think this is a very, very good matchup for the Redskins if they can do one thing. That's contain Kareem Hunt. I'm having nightmares already thinking about this on Monday. The Redskins have a problem with tackling against the very explosive, lethal, and athletic running backs, and especially pass-catching running backs. And Kareem Hunt can do all of these things. So the biggest issue is who are going to match up with him. Not really sure. Zach Brown's more of a tackler in the run game, so hopefully he can get in there and stuff that up. But if the Redskins, Kareem Hunt just scares me. On the offense, I think the Redskins you're going to see Terrell Pryor more. He wants to get going. He's had a terrible start to the season. Finally saw Josh Doctson make a play, so he'll be more involved in the offense. They're going to be a deep threat. Jameson Crowder in the slot, I think, would be a better fit. This boy was accustomed to last season when he had over 700 yards. If Jordan Reed's supposed to be healthy, you had Jordan Reed and Vernon Davis. So starting to look a lot of weapons. Kirk's feeling himself again. He gets going a little later in the season. It takes a couple weeks to get going. Redskins plus 6.5 is the pick. Take him on the money line if you're feeling good. The Redskins are going to be 3-1. We're making our statement for the best team in the NFC and the NFC East. And we're here. So big game for our Skins. I'm a little worried, but if we can contain 3-1, we'll get it done. No worries.
Wow, that was a stretch. I hate to call them out like that, but like
You
best
don't
team
see
in the
very
NFC,
confident,
come on, man,
right?
they're not even close to good.
No,
Hey,
not very confident.
we beat the Rams, the Raiders, and the Chiefs, and we only lost the Eagles because of a couple mistakes by Kirk Cousins. Who else would argue that we beat two of the best teams in football and a good, tough road win?
I think the Rams are the best team in football.
I said if we beat the Chiefs. I said if we beat the Chiefs. If we beat the Chiefs, we have an argument.
This man's called the Rams the best team in football.
I did not.
I don't know what he's
I did not. I said we beat the Raiders, who are they're not one of the four best teams in the AFC.
I don't know, maybe not at this
They
point.
won 12 or
Maybe not
13.
at this point.
All right, you're right. The
Maybe
Raiders
you guys
suck.
lost to one team though. That's the Eagles.
That ends week 4 in our spreads. That's a wrap for that. Next thing is up. We're going to do another segment before we get into our locks. It's called What's Moving. It's the new segment we're doing. Joe Germani's going to take over. He's going to talk about the way the spreads have been going, which way the percentage of the money is going, and how Vegas reacts to where the money's going from the people. Just give us a little update on what to look for and what do you think we should watch out for when we're making our picks this Sunday.
Okay, I think on the cards we have the Cowboys Rams at 46.5 at the over. But I'm looking here on I'm going to be using is CBS Sports and OddsShark to look at these numbers. So on OddsShark right now, I'm pretty sure they have it at 49. Yeah, they've got the over/under at 49 for that game, and then on CBS they've got it at 48.5. Vegas thinks there's going to be a lot of points where Vegas wants to push the line up a little bit so they can maybe hit on some unders. So I think it's going to be close. So I'm going with the over in that one. I think there's a reason they're moving the line because they want you to bet one way. I also like as we just talked about. I like the Redskins plus 6.5. I think me and Ty were talking about this actually when right after the game ended. The line I think for the Chiefs Redskins game is not -9. Chiefs -9. It's moved all the way down to 6.5, which to me means that a lot of people or the Vegas wants you to bet on the Chiefs. They're trying to draw people in. They're trying to get people to bet on that game. So if I was you, I would stay away from it. I would take the Redskins plus the points here. I think another game that's moving is the Jets Jaguars. So the cards they've got at 39.5. The actual's down to 38. People are thinking. I think a lot of people are taking the under. That's why they're dropping the spread. So
It's on a pretty low spread, too.
yeah, I mean, like to drop it from 39.5 down to 38. I mean, it just shows you what Vegas is thinking on that one. Another one we've got moving that when I took one of my picks is the Cards have the Browns and the Bengals at 39.5. That spread's already all the way up to 41 already. I think there's a chance it might go up a little bit more before Sunday, so I would take the over in that one. Vegas really thinks it's going to go over. And the last one I would take is the Eagles and the Chargers. On the cards, they've got Eagles plus 0.5 point. Right now on OddsShark, for some reason, they've got the Chiefs. Or no, they've got the Chargers minus 2.5 points at home against the Eagles. That line has moved a lot. They really think I think they're trying to get people to bet on the Chargers in this one. I think they think that the Chargers are not going to go 0-4. They're going to figure it out. Philip Rivers makes a statement win at home here, but I'm not a huge fan of it personally. I think the money line's going the other way. As I'm looking at here, 52%, 48% is going to Philly, but I think on a pick 'em, it's looking pretty good here, the Eagles. Those are my picks. Also, a lot of people are betting on the overs. What I'll say is a lot of people are betting on the overs in the Minnesota and Detroit game. I'm at 90% right here for the odds. That's the way people are betting.
Take the under, just off that. No other reason. 90% of people take the under.
Then we got 94% of people are taking the over in the Chargers Eagles game. So
Take that under, too.
people
I
are
really like that.
really high on that.
Oh, my.
High on that over. And that over is honestly, it's moved from 46.5 on the cards to 48 too, so it's already moved. And a lot of people they're in love with it, so I think you might want to go against what people are betting and bet the under.
People are stupid. There's a reason why Vegas wins.
Vegas wins every
They
time.
always win. All right, so that's what's moving with Joe Germani. Last week, Joe did waiver wire winners for us, but he kind of soaked up any waiver wire team you could get, and there's not really much there this week. So instead of trying to force something, I'm going to add some new segments. But waiver wire winners will be back.
I was right about my man Allen Hurts caught touchdown pass. Told you to take a chance on him.
Yeah, he did. Derrick Henry had some pretty solid waiver wire winners.
Yeah, Chris Carson. I mean, that was kind of an easy one though. But man, Allen Hurts picked him in my fantasy league. I believe in him.
Up next, we have the Arc Boy locks of the week for week 4. Last week we gave you 5 locks. Wasn't 100%. Won a little better. We went with the Panthers Saints under 48.5. That covered. Falcons minus 2.5. That covered. Titans Seahawks under 43.5. That went way over. Had a bad lead on that one.
No idea what's going on.
Yeah. The Bucks minus 1.5. You were really big on the Bucks. They got destroyed.
That was a trap, though, honestly. I mean, we took that -2 on the cards for the Bucks, and the line ended up moving for Minnesota.
Well, the line didn't open. The line opened at the Bucks -2, and then for some it switched to the
Vikings -2, and they ended up winning by a lot. We should have known.
We should have saw something. That was a bad call by us. And then the Chiefs -3.5. They covered against the Chargers. They looked solid the whole way. So we went 3 for 5 last week. It's not great. We expect better. But we got something this week. Got a couple consensus. Not sold on one of the locks, but I'm behind with my dogs. So here we go. The 5 Arc Boy locks of the week for week 4. First, we have the Raiders -2.5 against the Broncos on the road. +2.5 on the road. I think they're getting points. I think they win the game outright. Both these guys think they win the game. I think the Raiders' offense is back to normal. It's a big dub against the Broncos. Titans -1.5 against the Texans on the road. I'm a big fan of the Titans. I think the Titans are by far the best team in the AFC South. And this is a game that they have to prove it. This is a division matchup. If they lose this one, things get interesting because I think the Titans really put their stamp on the AFC South and have a nice little victory here.
Yeah, I can see it. As you guys probably remember, I took the Texans, I think, in this one, but I think I'm going to go with them. I'm going to let them. I'm Mr. 40%, so I'm going to let them make the picks.
What is he really?
I'm going to let them decide on this one.
Titans are. I'm pretty good on the Titans. I've had my pulse on them all year, pretty much. I think I'm 3 for 3 so far on their spreads. So doing good. Saints -2.5 in London. I think that's a big win for them. I think they dominated the Dolphins. These London games, you never really know what to expect. Usually one way or the other, lopsided victory. I think the Saints offense gets it rolling. They put on a show for everyone there. See a lot of Michael Thomas this week. Next up, we got the Jags +3.5 or -3.5 against the Jets. I think on the road, Jags had a great game last week in London. They look solid. Jets don't buy too much into the Jets off that win against the Dolphins. Their offense is still trash. Josh McCown's still the quarterback. They still have Leo Powell and Matt Forte running the ball with no real options at receiver. So don't go too high on the Jets. I think the Jags get it done here, -3.5. Last but not least, our 5th lock of the week, which I'm not sold on. I told you guys, I'm not falling for this trap, but I got outrode it. Eagles -0.5 point. Eagles win the game.
Go Birds.
It seems too good to be true. That's the only reason why I don't want it. I don't like it. But you know what? We'll take it. I'm rocking with it. There are 5 locks of the week. We're going to put a card together, try to win some money. See what happens. There we go. And that is our 5 Arc Boy locks of the week. Got Raiders +2.5, Titans -1.5, Saints -2.5, Jags -3.5, and the Eagles at a pick 'em. So that's the end of our football talks for the day. But just gonna add a new segment here. End the show. We're gonna do every week. It's just let's talk. Let's talk about what's on our mind. And it could be about sports. It could be about the world. Anything. Tell a story. Just a little chat about what's going on. And so today we're gonna talk about Let's Talk. If anyone last week we had scheduled the show for 2 p.m. Didn't quite work out for 2 p.m. And also, if you watched last week, we had the football cards with us. We didn't quite get football cards this week. So, start out, Joe. What happened with the cards?
What
happened?
All right. So apparently, we live in Newark, Delaware. That's where we live. We live on the University of campus. There's this place called Tobacco Zone, right? That they have cards, right? So we weren't sure. We're like, all right, we'll go pick up some cards for the game. We happen to be in the area, me and Ty. So we go over there, right? I walk into the store, and as I'm walking up, I just see all these signs across. No football cards. No football cards. Thanks to this person. I was like, what is going on? And I talked to the guy. Once I get inside, I'm like, yes, you guys want to have football cards? He's like, yeah, we might not have them until next week. He's like, I'm hoping I get them in by Monday, but we don't know. Apparently, someone robbed. I don't even know. It's really weird. It's really weird what happened on this side. apparently someone robbed this dude with fake checks from like PNC or something. And I forget, I really should remember this guy's name. He put his name on every single sign, outside, inside the store. He really was not a huge fan of this guy. My guy Tobacco Zone was not having it.
So we got no cards this week. But the reason why the show aired a little late, this one's on me. Had breakfast this morning, at like 11 o'clock. Figured it'd be nothing. Got done around 12:30. Come home, the show's at 2. I live 10 minutes away, by the way, from this place. At work, get here in plenty of time, prep for the show. Well, coming down one of the main roads, goes way to my house, construction, roads blocked off. Alright, that's cool. Let me just find my way, take a little scenic route, get around here, get around the traffic. Turns out that road was blocked off too. So now I'm sitting 10 minutes of traffic again, waiting to get over. Finally get on this one road. It's called Main Street, which is how I get home. It's another way to get home. And this thing is backed up a good 2 miles. Just no one moving, bumper to bumper. And I'm like freaking out. Like the show starts in like 15 minutes. What are we gonna do? Like, we're gonna be late. And so I finally, after doing another couple more tries of me trying to find an escape route, I finally found a open road. Got home about 1:55, so I had to cancel the show back an hour. So I'm sorry for the delay. Got to handle my driving, my time better. So no cards, a little late. Ty, what you got for us? Let's talk.
What's on your mind?
Man, I got 2 things that are on my mind today. One during the show, Russell Westbrook signed the largest contract in NBA history today. Re-signed with the Thunder, 5-year, $205 million.
Holy crap.
So if you think anything to that, Paul George, possibly a good chance he could still stay in Oklahoma City this year if he has a good year. Also, another thing on my mind is how Joel Embiid is not cleared to play 5-on-5 basketball yet.
What's up with that?
What is up with that? With a torn meniscus, which takes 3 to 6 months. We are now almost
10.
Almost 10, probably. We're close to into October now. We're like a week away, and Joel's still not cleared. And basketball starts in 2 weeks, so either something's up and they're not telling us.
Yeah, what's going on?
Well, that's pretty much it. I don't know what's going on.
We gotta talk about this for a
I think
second.
they're being very precautious here. I think they don't want Joel. They know how injury prone he is. They don't want to rush him onto the court for 5-on-5s and him get hurt in practice. They want him to be ready for game 1. I think he'll be ready for game 1, and they want him to be healthy and just honestly hope and pray he makes it this season. They just want him to put him on the court at the last possible second. I think because he looks good, he looks mobile. He's obviously not hurt. He's at the Eagles game jumping around and stuff. Like he's not like he's crippled. Like, he can play basketball. I think they're just being very precautious, and I didn't love the way they handled it. I think Brett Brown and Colangelo and all of them are kind of being a little.
Too precautious.
They're too precautious, but I think this year, like he's got to play. He played 31 games last year, and we needed more from him. This year's his contract year. I need to see him on the floor. I don't want him to be precautious.
You need at least 50 to 60 games.
I need 60 games.
The type of money he wants to have.
You can't pay him a max if he's not on the floor for 50 games. I think Ty's right. Like, we need to see him.
If we offered him like a 4-year, $75 million deal,
a little Steph Curry action. That's
the only way. The only way I see the Sixers being able to keep everybody that they have is if Joel signs a contract like Steph Curry, where he was hurt the first couple of years. He wasn't able to get the full amount of money he would usually get if he was healthy. Mm-hmm. And I think after that, because Ben Simmons probably
is going to be a superstar.
I honestly think he might be the best player. And people are sleeping on him because he didn't play last year. It's going to be dangerous next year for the Sixers. And also, talking about the Sixers, take the over, too. It's like 42 wins.
Yeah,
42. Wait, no, that's right. Didn't he have like 39?
Oh, it's maybe 39.5 now. Take the over. Take the over.
All I got to say is Little Dicky took it. He took the over in the wins. I'm with Little Dicky, my man. I'm going with it.
See? Anything else on our minds? Or
I think that's it.
Sixers are going to the playoffs.
Sixers are going to the playoffs.
I don't care. I don't care that Markelle Fultz said it. I don't care that a lot of people don't believe in it. Believe in the Sixers. This is the year you're going to trust the process.
Trust the process. Trust the process.
Oh, we're hype on the Sixers.
Oh, yeah.
We're all
Get on board.
You're going to see us there. Watch us on TV.
We'll be there in D.C. the season opener in Washington. Let's go, Sixers. Whew.
Bum, 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 bum,
All right,
bum,
guys. It was a good show. Have
Great
fun. Everyone here, everyone from NGSC Sports. Thanks you guys for watching. Once again, my name is Tyler Boyer. This is Joe Germani, Tyler Bean with the boys. Bet with the boys. Back next week, 2 o'clock. Hopefully.
Tune in.
Tune in.
This is the most awkward part of the show right
We're
now.
working on this.
We need to hire an assistant or somebody. We need an assistant.